All right, welcome everyone. Again, Todd Kuhlman here. We are going to do about a 35 minute webinar today reviewing the Analyst Pro, specifically how to make a commercial real estate offering memorandum and do a financial analysis on a property very quickly, very easily as well. We are recording today's session, so if you would like to get a copy of today's recorded session, just email our support department, and as soon as we get this video uploaded and edited and available for distribution, which will probably be in the next 24 hours, we will be happy to email you a link to this recorded session as well. The way to contact our support department is to email us support@TheAnalystPro.com, and I did type that in the chat box. So if you see the chat box over there on the side under the GoToWebinar control panel, take a look at that. That web email address is in there. Also, we have muted everybody on today's session. If you do have any questions whatsoever as I go through today's session, any questions on the Analyst Pro for us, please let us know, but you can chat it in the chat box. Also, Raina Hawkins is head of our customer service department here at the Analyst Pro. I want to number one, take a few minutes and introduce Raina. And then Raina, come on board here and introduce yourself. Also, Raina will set up one-on-one demos with anybody that needs any one-on-one assistance and learning more about the Analyst Pro. So Raina, I'm going to pull up how they can sign up for a demo if you want to introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about some of the scheduled demos.
Okay, hi, I'm Raina Hawkins. As Todd said, I am the customer care manager for the Analyst Pro. I am available for phone support, as well as I do schedule the one-on-one demos. I'm happy to spend 30 to 45 minutes with you, kind of going through any of the tools that we have or that we offer on the Analyst Pro, and then help you just become familiar with the tools that we have to offer. Feel free to go on and schedule, as Todd is showing you here, to request a date and a time that's available. And then it'll send me an email, at which time I will confirm with you and then send you an invite to our join.me so that we can have the meeting. Otherwise, if you do have questions, feel free to email our support, or you can email me directly at Rena@TheAnalystPro.com. And that's RHENA@TheAnalystPro.com.
Wonderful. Thank you, Raina. And Raina, if you want to type in your email and the support email in that chat box. Again, everyone, if there's any questions as I'm going through this, Raina's going to help kind of monitor the chat box, and then I'll try to answer any questions toward the end as well. But thanks so much, Raina, for that. Let's get into a little bit of today's presentation as we go through, and we're going to discuss some of the what I call offering memorandums, as well as analysis for commercial real estate. So I'm going to go into a little presentation mode real quick, and then I'm going to go into an actual demo of the Analyst Pro, how you can use it and use it very quickly. Number one, this webinar is specifically for CCIM and CCIM members. CCIM is very near and dear to me. I am a CCIM designee since 1999, a CCIM instructor, been sitting on the CCIM board previously for many years. So CCIM is very near and dear to my heart. And with that, we have a lot of tools in the Analyst Pro that would really help you in not only your CCIM adventures, but coming in and analyzing properties just as we teach in the CCIM curriculum. Coming in and identifying the internal rate of return, the cash on cash returns, cap rates on properties, which lease comparison, which is the better lease for your client, whether that be the tenant or the landlord perspective for that particular client. The other thing about the Analyst Pro is that it is the only commercial real estate analysis software available on all of your devices. People like to call the Analyst Pro an app. The Analyst Pro is actually a full analysis platform. It'll work on your computer, every one of your computers. In fact, the demo today I'm going to be doing, I am in a remote location doing this demo, and I'm going to be doing it from my laptop computer device. But I can also be on my phone, my iPad, an Android device. It works natively on all of your devices, and this is the only analysis platform that will work on any of your devices. Let's see what we're going to do today. So first of all, we're going to take an apartment case study. So the case study apartment on a proposed apartment complex, and we're going to run a full investment analysis on this case study. And yes, we're going to do this full investment analysis in less than 30 minutes and create a full commercial property package on this in less than 30 minutes together. We're going to look at the different investment measures to see if this proposed apartment complex would make sense. Should we build this apartment complex? What's the cap rate on the project? What's the annual cash on cash, or I call dividend return on the apartment complex? What's the property internal rate of return, or IRR, over our holding period? How long should we own this property? What's the optimal period to own the property? And then if we get financing on that property, what's our equity IRR? And do we have a positive leverage scenario? All of these items we're going to do very, very quickly and very easily. Then we're going to create a commercial package pro. Using TheAnalyst PRO, we're going to create an offering memorandum in just a few minutes. The offering memorandum's very, very simple to create, but extremely extensive in the information that it provides you and your clients. We're going to include an investment analysis in our offer memorandum. That's going to be the investment analysis we create on the apartment complex. Also, the demographic analysis. We'll run a full demographic analysis using ESRI demographics. So as a CCIM, you're probably familiar with Site to Do Business. We've integrated a lot of the demographic information and ESRI into the TheAnalyst PRO platform, so that you can put these analysis reports instantly right in your commercial packages. We've integrated our custom location risk analysis report. And the reason I say this is a custom is something that we created over here at TheAnalyst PRO and CRE Tech. I actually created this over 8 years ago to be part of TheAnalyst PRO. And this location risk analysis will include your crime risk. It'll include the flood risk analysis through FEMA, and also environmental risk analysis for any known environmental records on a particular property. Again, exclusive only to the TheAnalyst PRO. Let's take a look at this case study, because I want to dig right in on creating this investment analysis, and more importantly, in creating this offering memorandum, which I know is why you're here today. The apartment case study. This is a proposed, and this is a fictitious property, but it is a proposed 60-unit garden apartment. I picked this particular property because we've been having a lot of people using the TheAnalyst PRO looking at potential development deals, and I want to show people how you could do an existing project as well as a proposed project using the TheAnalyst PRO's investment analysis tool, as well as offering memorandum, the commercial package pro tool. And the beauty part about this, and I don't know if you're using spreadsheets or Excel spreadsheets right now, but the wonderful thing about using the TheAnalyst PRO's investment analysis, lease analysis, commercial package pro tool is it's simple. Not only does it work on all your devices, but it's very, very simple. The other great thing, especially if you're using Excel spreadsheets right now, is that it creates a very professional branded PDF report. So the layout, we spent a tremendous amount of effort and time making sure that the layout and the format of each of the presentation proposals that you make, whether it's a financial or a lease analysis presentation or a complete commercial package presentation, is really laid out sharp and professional for you. So we've done all the heavy lifting over here. We're doing the numbers that you do in CCIM, the numbers that your spreadsheets do, but we have much higher capability of doing rollover risk analysis, doing a multi-tenant commercial property, really doing an Argus level analysis, but doing it very, very simply, and in my opinion, very, very attractive, very professional presentation. So as we come in here, our goal is to complete an as stabilized analysis of an apartment to determine if it is financially feasible. We're going to say that the land cost plus all of our construction costs is going to be $6.5 million. So if we're looking at this as a, let's say, purchase price of this property, land plus construction cost, we're going to invest $6.5 million in this. We're going to put up the 60-unit apartment. We're going to do an even unit matrix or unit mix. We'll have 21 bedroom, 1 baths, 22 bedroom, 2 baths, 23 bedroom, 2 baths. Next, we're going to come in and say, well, their income on the property is going to increase at 3% a year. And other income on the property, let's say we have laundry income, is going to run $4,000 a year with a 2% per year increase on our projected income from the laundry. Then our expenses on the property, we're going to operate at about a 40% of gross operating income. So of the total collections we receive on the property each year, we're going to estimate expenses at 40% of that. And we're going to put a permanent loan on this property. We're going to do an 80% LTV, 5% interest rate, 10-year term, 25-year amortization loan to see if that's going to help increase our IRR so we have positive leverage with an equity IRR being higher. And then finally, we're going to look at our disposition analysis. When we sell this property, we're going to look at a disposition cap rate when we're ready to sell the property at 7.5% based on the NOI in the future. And we're actually have the Analyst Pro tell us the best year that it's going to be for us to sell that property. Now, let me switch over to the Analyst Pro, and this is on the web version of the Analyst Pro. So I'm going to go up here to the Analyst Pro. I've already logged in, so I'm going to select on my dashboard up here at the top. This will take me to the main dashboard with the Analyst Pro. Now, we have over 22 tools in here that you can access. A lot of calculator tools for my CCIM friends out there, including a time value money calculator, an IRR, NPV calculator, mortgage calculator. So very simple but very handy calculators that you would have, not only the web version, but on the mobile app versions as well. We're going to go to the analysis reports to start off with. Out of these 22 different tools that we have in here, we're going to really focus today on the investment analysis tool, and then on the commercial package pro tool, creating that full offering memorandum. You can see we have a comparative lease analysis. You can compare up to 5 leases side by side, both from a tenant and a landlord perspective, lease versus own analysis, loan amount analysis, target cap rate. Again, Raina said that she could set up a one-on-one demo with you. If there's any of these tools you want to look at specifically, she's happy to go in there and show you on a custom demo just for you any of these items. But I want to take our case study apartment project. I'm going to enter that for us. So I'm going to come in and select on investment analysis, and we're going to create a new analysis. All this is very, very simple, but what's great about this is it saves all my inputs to the cloud. So we actually use a cloud server, very secure, very reputable Amazon cloud server to host all the data. The data is secure, only you have access to the data. Unlike other commercial real estate software companies, we're not collecting data. We're doing the analysis based on the data you enter into the Analyst Pro, and then saving that information in your account, your secure account. So we're not here collecting any data that you're putting into the system. That's a big differential between us and a lot of other software companies in commercial real estate right now. All right, I'm going to call this the Gabriel Apartments, and I'm going to put this in a new folder. I'm going to call this my CCIM Demo 2019 folder. This folder system works very much like, let's say, the My Documents section on your computer, where you can organize the different files and save the different inputs in a folder structure so that you can quickly reference them later. In some cases, you may want to create a folder based on a client name that you may be representing. You may want to save a folder or create a folder based on a property or property listing that you have. Any method that works for you works because you're simply organizing the inputs and data. Then any computer you go to, any phone, iPhone, Android phone, tablet, iPad that you go to, you can open up those inputs instantly on that device as well. So I've got Gabriel's Apartments analysis under the CCIM demo folder. So we're going to go in and start entering the information on this. My first tab of information is going to be the property information tab. So over here you can see the different information that I need to enter in order to create my full investment analysis on this Gabriel's Apartment. I'm going to start with the property information. We said that the purchase price with the land plus construction was going to be $6.5 million. I'm going to leave the address off right now. You can see that this purchase price has an asterisk next to it. The property name has an asterisk to it. That's a required field. My property name was defaulted to the name that I created this particular file. I can change that if I like. Also, maybe you don't know what the price of the property you should pay today would be. You can actually select from an acquisition cap rate. So if you knew what the current cap rates in the market were for your particular property type, you could select between purchase price or acquisition cap rate. and it would then calculate that purchase price for you based on acquisition cap. In this case, our property is going to be 60 units. Now you're going to see a drop down here where we have square feet, square meters, or units. Any commercial property that is leased per square foot or square meter. So let's just say office, retail, industrial properties that you would lease per square foot. That you're going to want to say property size is square feet. Any property that you would lease, let's say on a per unit basis, which is going to be an apartment complex, self-storage property, mobile home park, anything of that nature, you'd want to enter units. The difference is when you go to enter the income at this stage, when you enter units, I will enter a unit mix or unit matrix for my apartment or self-storage or mobile home park type property. If I was entering a retail property, office, retail, or a commercial property, office, retail, industrial type property that I leased on a per square footage basis, I'd want to select square feet because then, or square meters, because then I could enter each individual tenant in that property, the square footage of each individual tenant, and the rate for each individual tenant on that property. So I'm going to select units, and I'm going to select on the continue button. Here you will see that I can put in an annual potential rental income, or I can enter the unit matrix. I'm going to enter the unit matrix. We said that the income on this property is going to go up at 3% a year, so I'm going to keep that the same. And I'm going to select on add unit matrix. Here, if I remember my setup, I had 21 bedroom, 1 bathroom units, 1 bedroom, 1 bath unit. My size of the 1 bedroom, 1 bath is 800 square feet. I'm going to rent that out for projected $1,000 a month. All right, that's my first unit. My second one is going to be 22 bedroom, 1 bath or 2 bath units. And these are a little bit bigger. So these are going to be 1,100 square feet. And we're going to rent those at $1,250 per unit. Now I'm going to add another row for my 3 bedroom units. So I'm going to have 20, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. And these are going to be 1,400 square feet. I'm going to rent them for $1,500 a unit. This is my entire unit matrix. Now, if you can put the unit description, any unit description you like. Some people I work with have self-storage properties. So you could come in and say, well, I've got 50 10 by 10s. I've got 20 10 by 30s, those types of things. So you can put any unit description in here for any type of property that's leased by unit. I'm going to save this. And now what I've done is included my entire unit matrix on this. Is there a limit to how many units? There's not. I've actually set up a 1,400 unit apartment complex here. Absolutely no issues having literally dozens of different types of units in this. Is there a limit for commercial properties on how many tenants? We've done high-rise downtown office buildings literally with over 100 tenants in that property. No issues. We're designed to handle that. We create a whole rent roll on that, rollover risk analysis. The other cool thing about the commercial inputs, if you're doing it by square foot or by square meter, is you can actually import it via Excel. So you can import a rent roll via Excel and populate this particular section in the commercial properties. All right, now next we have our other income. We said that was going to be $4,000 a year, and it was an increase of 2% per year. I'm going to press the continue button. So now we've entered the property information, the income information. Next is going to be my vacancy and expense information. My vacancy, I'm going to use just kind of a global vacancy of 5% per year. And I'm going to use my year one expense. We said it was going to be 40% of the gross operating income. How do you know this is going to be 40% of the gross operating income? Well, if I hover over the little information icon over here, it says a number between 1 and 99 will be a percentage of gross operating income. An entry of 100 or greater will be an actual dollar amount for expenses. So it's very universal. Very easy for me now to come in and just put in my 40% of expenses. Many times when you run an investment analysis, you may want to run and input the detailed line item expenses. So just for today's demo purposes, I'm making this simple. I'm just putting it at a 40% expenses. But if you're wanting to go in and show each individual expense line item, you can do that as well. So you see this little or icon here. You can come down, you can say real estate taxes, personal property taxes. You can take all these different types of expense categories and enter each expense category. You can enter it in an annual amount plus percentage change, a fixed dollar amount per year, or a percent of gross operating income. Let's say most property managements may be a percentage of the gross operating income. You could enter that here very, very quickly as well. If some of the line item expenses did not apply to you and you had custom line item expenses, so let's say you're up north and you might have snow removal, well, you can come in and edit any line item expense item and be a specific line item expense just for your particular property in this particular analysis. So very universal there. Also, we can enter capital expenditures, replacement reserves. So I can enter capital expenditures and replacement reserves for each year of the ownership of the property. In this case, this is a brand new apartment complex. So I'm going to underwrite a $250 per unit per year replacement reserve. This is pretty standard and pretty typical with an apartment complex. You're going to run between 200, maybe 175 for a new unit, up to maybe $300-400 for an older Class C apartment complex for replacement reserves. So I'm going to throw in here $250 per unit per year in replacement reserves. You can see it auto-populate it for the entire analysis period. I can customize these for each year as well if I think they're going to go up and down in any given year. That completes my inputs of my vacancy and expense categories. Next, I'm going to put in my mortgage information. So we can get an 80% loan, 5% interest rate. We were amortized for 25 years with a 10-year term and a 1% loan fee. Boom. That's all I need to enter for my mortgage information. Next is my sales price or cap rate at time of sale. I'm going to enter a 7.5% cap rate at time of sale. Sometimes you may not know what cap rate you want to use at time of sale. You could actually come in and enter a variable cap rate over the life holding period of that property, 10 years, up to 10 years. You could do an annual property appreciation. So if you were doing a land transaction, let's say, maybe you don't have income on the property right now, well, you're not going to be able to do a cap rate analysis at time of sale if you don't have income on the property. So you can actually do an annual property appreciation. The property is going to go up 3% a year, 5% a year, or a variable amount each year. Or you can just say, hey, I know in years 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, I'm going to sell it for a certain price. So you could select any of those from your sales price projection. And in order to do the internal rate of return 5 and 10-year calculations, we're going to need to do a sales price and sale cap rate projection on this property. I'm going to project we'll sell the property for the 7.5 cap rate. Now I can select the report. Before I select the report, I want to check my default settings section. In the default settings, this is where I set the acquisition cost. So let's say if I'm buying this for $6.5 million, I'm going to have cost to acquire the property, legal fees, title, recording fees of 2%. I can change that to a percentage. I can change it to an actual dollar amount. Same with my sale. When I go to sell the property, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to have about 5% cost of sale. This may include commissions that I'd have to pay to sell the property as well. Your tax rate. So you can do a before and after tax analysis on the property. The before and after tax, you can put in your federal tax rates, your state tax rates, your Medicare surplus tax rates, capital gain tax rates for the sale analysis. Both on a federal and a state or local level, and this can be internationalized. So whether you're in the United States, Canada, South Korea, Australia, Mexico, we have clients in all these different countries across the world. One thing I need to change on my default settings is I need to change my depreciation life here from commercial to residential. So my default settings say that my depreciation life is commercial for a office, retail, industrial type property. But this is an apartment complex, which is seen by the IRS as a residential type property. So all I have to do is do the drop down here for residential. The system will automatically calculate the 27.5-year depreciation life. All I had to do was say it was a residential property. Also, you may want to change the percentage of improvements. Remember, you can only depreciate the improvements on the property. So our system defaults to a 70% of improvement value versus a 30% land value. I'm going to keep with that because I think that's pretty realistic for this property in this location that I'm at. I'm going to come down here and say save settings for the current analysis. If you do mostly one type of property or you do a lot of analysis, let's say on an apartment complex, you may want to change that depreciation life to residential and save these settings as your default settings in the future. And that way, every time you run an analysis, these will be the default settings for that particular analysis. All right, I've saved those settings. Now let's just run the most simple report we have, 5-year before tax report. I can run a 5-year after tax, 10-year before, 10-year after tax. But let's just generate this thing in a 5-year before tax analysis. I want to see what some of the cash flows look like. I want to show you what the report looks like. And then finally, I want to see what the IRR over that 5-year holding period is. Then we'll come in and we'll add in some of these other reports when we make the whole commercial package. All right, so now here's what we've created. So we've created a multi-page PDF report very quickly on just those inputs that I did. It would have your logo on this. So everywhere you see the Analyst Pro logo, that would be your company logo on this. You can see we have our initial investment, our mortgage information, our cash flows before tax each year over a 5-year holding period. My CCIM friends out there, yes, this is our cash flow analysis worksheet you're so used to. But look how instant and quick that was generated. Just quick, instant, and really sharp, good looking. Then we have our sales proceeds. What's our projected sales price at the end of our 5-year holding period? Based on that, then we can calculate what the internal rate of return on this property is each year over 5 years. Not bad, 23.39% internal rate of return. That's if I hold the property for 5 years, what my annual return would be. My acquisition cap rate on the property was 7.93%. My first year cash on cash is 9.15. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Apologize, I'm dealing with a laptop computer here. You can see what the cash on cash each year is on this property. And again, I like to call that a dividend return for that particular investment. As I scroll down to the next page, you'll see that it actually built that unit matrix for me, showing me each of the units that I entered, the unit description, size, monthly rent, total income on the property, monthly rate per square foot, and what my income for the year would be on each individual unit. Now, in this case, I had 20 of each unit type, so it shows that I got a 1/3 of each unit type here, but it would show if you had many different units exactly what your unit mix would be for those. It shows what my rent per square foot per unit is, unit type is. And then I come down here and it will actually show my analysis for the property, graph out my cash flow analysis, my investment performance analysis, and then show me the unleveraged investment without financing, my financing cost and effective loan rate, and my positive leverage equity return on this investment of 23.39. So because of financing, I was able to increase my return 13% on this property, from 10.28 to 23% on this investment. Something very easy for you to show your client and potential buyer of this property, joint venture you want to put together, all of that's available. All right, that's the investment analysis, quick investment analysis on this property. I'm going to flip over to commercial package now. We're going to create a whole package on this apartment complex, and I'm going to do it with you in less than 10 minutes. So I'm going to call this the Gabriel's apartment again, and I'm going to create a new folder called the CCIM Demo 2019, just like I did the investment analysis. So this is a whole different tool, and one of our most robust tools in the Analyst Pro. And the reason we love this tool, we just came out with this tool the end of last year, and it has just created so much success for commercial real estate practitioners. It's amazing. You can come in here and literally in 10, 15 minutes create a full offering memorandum, walk into a listing appointment, walk into a sales appointment with a client. We're also enhancing this commercial package for all my leasing friends out there. So you can put a whole package together on any lease property, lease space that you have with a full lease analysis on that property. And that's coming next month. So get ready for that. It's going to be exciting. Anyway, coming in here, I can take the investment analysis I just did, create a whole package on this property in just a few minutes. And I did this, I pressed on Package Pro up here at the top. I'm creating a whole new Package Pro from the very beginning. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say what my apartment name is, Gabriel's apartment. Let's just say I'm gonna build it, let's build it this year. And now I need an address. This is gonna be a required input because we're gonna do some cool stuff. We're actually combining 4 different tools within the TheAnalyst PRO. We're combining the investment analysis, our demographic analysis, our location risk analysis, and our aerial map tool. All 4 of these powerful tools we've combined into this one commercial package. In order for us to run the demographic analysis, the location risk, and the aerial mapping, we have to have an address. We have to have a geocoded location. So in this case, I'm going to put in an address. This is a real address for a fictitious property. I actually think would be pretty good for this particular apartment complex, and I'll show you why here in a little bit. But this is in my hometown, which is a suburb of Austin, Texas, and Georgetown, Texas, 78628 is the zip code. Our purchase price on this property was $6.5 million. And I'm just going to say our land size is 5 acres. I'm kind of making this up, but you could put your land size, you could put it in square feet, square meters, acres, hectares. And then again, our property size was 60 units. This is the location information. Once I've entered that location information, I press the apply button and it will actually map out exactly where this property is. So this property for my proposed apartment complex right here on this state highway, pretty close to my particular house. So I'm pretty intimately familiar with this piece of land, and I think it would do well for a proposed 60-unit apartment complex, hence why I created this case study. All right, so I create that, I geocode that location. Next thing I'm going to do is press the continue button. Now, because we're creating a commercial package, I can add photos to this. So I can drag and drop photos, I can upload photos. So I've got a few photos I've already prepared. As you can see, I've got about 5 photos here that I have saved to my computer. It can be JPEGs, PNG files, any type of photo. Now we'll also crop that image, because what happens on our commercial package, it's going to actually create this commercial package and put those photos in there perfectly and size them perfectly. So we're going to force the cropping right now on that image, and it's going to 4:3 ratio on our cropping so that it looks perfectly on your package that you create. We do recommend good quality photos in here, so please use good high resolution photos, especially when you're going to print your packages out. Here's a little interior shot. And again, this is going to be a little bit wide, so I'm going to crop that, press on done. It's going to crop and upload that image automatically. So now you can see I've got a first image, my second image. Let me go grab these other images real quick so that we can include them in our package. Got to have that laundry facility. And these are obviously fictitious photos, but if I'm putting together a prospective deal for, let's say, my joint venture partnership, I can get some renderings, I can get some artist renderings, I can get some floor plans of the property, those types of things all work great. Now I'll upload my last photo. Got to have a pool out here in Texas. So nice, pretty pool picture. And now I've got 5 photos. You can upload up to 10 photos in here. If I want to now, I can actually drag those photos around. So it's like, okay, I would like these 2 pretty photos first. This would be your primary photo. The first photo here would be your primary photo to show on your first page of your commercial package. And so you can just drag whatever image you want over there as well. Next, I have 1,000 characters of property description. I've only got a few minutes of your time here. So I'm just going to say 60-unit proposed apartment complex in Central Texas. And again, I'd probably go into a lot more detail here. Again, I have 1,000 characters. We want to space it out. Now, some people say, can I make a commercial package with just a land property? Sure. If I have a land property, I don't want to do an investment analysis. I can just run a demographic analysis in there, a location analysis. Maybe you've got a very simple package you want to make for a client with all you want is pictures and description and your logo and contact information. You don't have to include any of these other reports if you don't want to. So you can make a very, very simple package all the way up to our most detailed package, which you can get 60, 80 pages long. So I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to select the investment analysis, demographic analysis, location risk analysis, aerial location analysis. All of these are going to be included now in my package. Now we've already entered the investment analysis information. You can see I've changed my steps up here. So my first step, property details, which is my location and photos, already entered. My investment analysis, demographic analysis, location risk, aerial. You may be looking at me and saying, Todd, you got about 5 more minutes to get this package done based on you saying you could do this in 10 minutes. Well, guess what? We're going to do that. But I'm going to import that investment analysis that we just did. So we already created this Gabriel's Apartment investment analysis using the investment analysis tool in the Analyst Pro. So I'm just going to import everything that we put in there previously. That's going to be the 3% income increase, the unit matrix that we already entered, the $4,000 other income that we entered on the property, the 5% credit loss, the 40% expenses. Obviously, I can change any of these now if I want to change them for my package. My $250 in replacement reserves per unit per year. Press continue. I've got my mortgage data, the 80% loan at 5% rate, 25-year amortization. My 7.5% now disposition cap rate. A little different here though. Now I can select multiple investment analysis reports to put in my commercial package. So I had a very simple 5-year before tax report, but maybe I want to include this 10-year after tax report. So I can include that as well. What if I want to change those default settings again? So I come into those default settings. It brings all the default settings that I had from before, the acquisition costs, my tax rates, my depreciation life, all saved from the previous inputs I did and brought it right into my commercial package. Okay, now you're saying, Todd, you got about 4 minutes left before you need to create this package. Great. So now let's run the demographic reports. For all of you familiar with Site to Do Business, I love Site to Do Business. I love Esri. I love the GIS system. However, we have to admit, it can take some time to generate these demographic reports, can't it? So we made it just simple, simple, simple. So you come in here, you say, hey, I want a radius ring, 135 mile. I want drive times. I want to hand draw a polygon area. In this case, I'm going to do one radius ring around this property, and I want to do a 15-mile radius around this particular property because I think I can draw tenants from about 15 miles radius around this property. It instantly takes that, what I call the study area. We go out to Esri. This is an Esri map, and it creates now that 15-mile radius around our proposed apartment complex, so I can pull full demographic analysis of that entire location. Press on the continue button. Then I say, what reports do I want? So what demographic reports do I want? I want the executive summary report, demographic and income profile, graphic profile, housing profile report, tapestry segmentation report, traffic count report. All of these are included. All I had to do was click, click, click which ones I want, press the continue button. Guess what? That just included all of the demographic reports for my package. The other cool thing about this, it's going to page number them in my package. It's going to put your logo at the top. It's going to put your contact information at the bottom of those demographic reports. Same demographic information you're getting through Site to Do Business through those reports, but now format it perfectly and include it in your package. Next, our location risk analysis. Okay, do I want a flood map? FEMA flood map. Yeah, I want a FEMA flood map. Do I want to know what crime is in this area? Yeah, that could impact my loan. So Fannie Mae, I don't know if you know this, but Fannie Mae will not lend on properties in high crime areas. So I may want to make sure right up front here before I start going down the road of trying to raise money to build this project, start getting the renderings done, architecturals, I may want to make sure that I'm not in a high crime area where I'm going to have maybe problems getting a permanent financing through Fannie Mae. Do I want to know of any environmental records within this area? Is there any spills? Is there any leaking underground storage tanks within this area? I can click on that report as well. So I've clicked on these. If I want to reorder any of them, I can just drag and drop and I can reorder these reports. Click on continue, and guess what? I'm moving on. I have check marks, property details, investment analysis, demographic analysis, location risk analysis. I'm now on my aerial location map report. I can annotate this image if I want. So I can come in and say, well, yeah, let's annotate this image. I want to draw on this particular report. So I want to make a little outline. So I'm going to say, this is my piece of property right here. And maybe it's going to circle up the road a little bit. All right, so I've got that. Great. Maybe I want to add an image to this property. So maybe a little thumbnail. I've already inserted this little thumbnail image. I say, hey, this is what it's going to look like. Isn't that cool? And then I just annotate my image. If I want to add text to this, I want to add shapes and arrows and subject buttons and stuff like that, I can do that really quickly. But you saw how quickly I annotated that image. It works just as easy from your mobile device, by the way, as well. I can have now include in my package my location maps. Where's this in Texas? Where's this property? Where's this Georgetown place? I maybe have an investor saying, I don't know where Georgetown is. Why would I invest there? Well, that's going to give me that area location map for that. Maybe I want a street view. So if Google Street View is available out here, I'm just going to take a live street view map here of that particular empty lot. Now I'm proposing to build this property on. I'm going to capture and crop that particular street view. Done. That's going to be included in my package now too. If I want to reorder these, boom, I can just reorder them. You know what? I want that annotated map first, maybe the street view second, my location map third. Boom, done. All right. Now, next thing is, do I have any special floor plans, attachments, plat maps, any PDF document I can add to my package? So if you got anything special that you want to add as a PDF, you may have your own disclaimer, like Texas, I know, has brokerage disclaimer documents. You can have that uploaded and add it here. So you could have an unlimited number of attachments added to your particular package and just drag and drop over here. Also, I preloaded my resume in here, so I'm going to add that automatically by just checking that checkbox. Press the continue button. Here's my table of contents. I have my cover page, my table of contents, property information. Now I can reorder all these. Property photos, my investment analysis for my 5-year before, 10-year after tax, demographic analysis, location risk, aerial and location. And I may say, hey, you know what? I think that aerial and location report may go better up here with my property photos. So I'll use that. And then my personal bio and resume. If I want to edit the name of any of these, I can edit them. That'll show up on my table of contents and the headers. Boom, done. Now I can select from 5 different report templates. I can also match the report highlight colors to my logo. And you would do that one time. So I could come in here and say, and you set this in your default settings, by the way, so this is done one time. But I've matched my red color in TheAnalyst PRO logo to this hex color code. So all you have to do is set this up one time and it would be done for you from then on. I'm going to now just generate this report. Last thing I have is I can say, do I want to bind, offset, print, ready this report? What'll happen here, and this is going to be a pretty big report because I've selected everything, right? I'm going to have this whole demographics and environmental and flood and a 5 and a 10-year investment analysis and photos. It's going to be a big offering memorandum. What we found is you can take these and print them on your printer and bind them in-house, print them duplex, front and back. And if I press on this bind, offset, print, ready, what it will do is we'll offset the margins on each side. So it's perfect for binding that spine in the middle. So it offsets everything 1/2 inch. So it's perfect for binding. And all I have to do is press on the yes button there. I'm going to select no, and I'm just going to press on generate this report. Now what's happening is all this data has now been sent off to our servers. So our servers are crunching the numbers, running the 5 and 10-year before and after tax reports. It's compiling the report, but it's also reaching out through APIs to Esri to get the full demographic analysis. We've got an API to FEMA getting the flood map reports. We've got an API to our own database of environmental records. And I've got an API to the FBI crime databases for the crime report. So we're compiling all that right now. A server and our computers are just going crazy doing that. What's going to happen in about 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to receive an email notification that that report is completed and ready for me. And it will attach the report or give me a link to that report, depending on the size of the report. Also, that report will then show up under my completed package reports. So earlier today, I actually ran that report. So you can see here, Gabriel's Court, I ran that report. So the exact report we just spent about 10 minutes putting in has now generated and saved in my package reports. It was emailed to me when it was completed, and it's also on my dashboard so that I can pull it up on any device. But you can see what this looks like now. So all this color, that's my color accent. That would be the accent of your logo. All of these would be your logo at the top and your contact information. This is our table of contents information. I can click on this table of contents and it'll take me to any of these items. So if I want to go to the investment analysis, I just click on investment analysis and boom, it takes me right to the investment analysis. We've already looked at this report, but now it's incorporated and page numbered for the commercial property package. Let me go back up to the top so we can get a better look at everything that was included in this particular report. All right, so now my offering memorandum report. We did this in 10 minutes, remember? This offering memorandum report, I've got all of this information included. I've got my photos of the property description and information, all the photos that I had uploaded, which was the 5 photos, but again, you could have up to 10. All perfectly laid out. I didn't have to do any formatting. It forced the formatting on a perfect basis. It's got my accent color for my logo, be your accent color. This is a little rendering I had as a separate attachment for a floor plan that I could upload and include. This is that area location map. Where is Georgetown in Texas? Where is Texas in the United States? Here was that Google Street View image. And then we also had the annotated image, our 5-year before tax report. We had a 10-year after tax report. The 5-year reports are in portrait mode. The 10-year reports are in landscape mode. Also very nice when you bind this and you print it and you hand it to the clients. Very, very professional, very nice looking. The 10-year after tax report is much more extensive. It actually looks at if you sold the property each year, what would be the sales proceeds every year? What would be the optimal holding period to own this property? What's the IRR of that investment on an annual basis? What's the cash on cash each year for 10 years before and after tax graphed out? So very extensive. We'll also look at the positive impact of leverage analysis on a before and after tax basis on that report as well. And I'm just going to scroll down. This gets into now our demographic analysis. Before, and I said we did a 15-mile radius ring around that property. Here's an image of that 15-mile radius ring. And then we're pulling that Esri data, coming right out of Esri, pulling in that property population within that 15 minutes, household information, rental information, all the information you're used to. But now, branded at the top, has your property information branded like every page in your package and your footer information with your contact information at the footer. So same powerful demographic analysis reports that you're used to, all now embedded and incorporated into your property package, adding to the extensive property package. This page up here, you may have just seen, that is going to be your tapestry segmentation, what type of people live there. And then coming down here, it's all color coded. So you can see and then actually link to the different tapestry segmentations and what those tapestry segmentations are. Traffic counts, what the traffic count maps are, again, pulled by Esri and provided by Esri. My flood risk, am I in a flood zone? So it shows no, I'm not in a flood zone, but I can see where the flood zones are and where I am in location to those flood zones. And it talks about the flood hazard designations, all the disclaimers and disclosures. My crime index talks about the crime index, each type of crime in that particular area and what the index is. And then it talks in detail. What is this crime index? How is it calculated? Where is this information derived from? 500 jurisdictions, 16,000 separate FBI databases. And it talks about how it's calculated and when. So we're actually pulling the 2019 database for the current crime. Environmental risk analysis. Is there any known environmental risk issues within a quarter mile or half mile of this property? You can see I've got 3 environmental records within half a mile of the property. It doesn't mean it's an environmental contamination, just means there's an environmental record, and then we give you details. What is that environmental record, and is that a contamination or something I need to be worried about? These interest type state masters are not contaminations, so I don't need to worry about those particular items. Not only are they not within a quarter mile of my property, but they do not say contamination, which they could say, or monitoring site, which it would say. So you would know that. And then, of course, my bio here at the end. And then at the very last page, you have the back cover page with your contact information, your logo, your company name, and contact information. Makes for an amazing bind it, print it, emailed, and now I can actually take this package and I can do several things with it. So I can email this report instantly now to a client. I can pull this up on my mobile phone device and send it out to a client. I can save it. I can save it to Dropbox, Box, and even Google Drive. So a lot you can do with this particular package. If I want to make some adjustments to it, I can just go in, I can change the pricing, I can make any adjustments, rerun this package, and it'll, again, within 10 minutes, send me a new updated package as well. So with that, let us know of any questions. I'm going to go over real quickly here, pull up my PowerPoint one more time, because something unique is going on. We have a discount for CCIM members. So if you're a CCIM member, you have the Analyst Pro for $329.99 a year. $329. It's a 20% discount off of our annual pricing. In September, we are changing our pricing to $599.99. We have not had a pricing change in years, and we keep adding and adding and adding more to the Analyst Pro. So we're going to $599.99 a year in September. If you are interested in the Analyst Pro, you can subscribe as a CCIM member, candidate or designee, for $329 a year, and we're locking in that price for 2 years for anybody that signs up under our current pricing model. So you're not going to go up on your price in a year from now. So it's locked in. If you have any questions, you want to subscribe, please let us know. Raina, I'm going to hand this back over to you really quickly. Again, let them know how you can help them, the next steps they have to get signed up. If you want to do a trial, you can also do a trial. So Raina, I'm going to have you come back on for a minute. I'm going to take a sip of water and let us know of any way that they can get a hold of you and the next steps.
Okay. Again, my name is Rena Hawkins. I'm the Customer Care Manager for TheAnalyst PRO. At this time, if you have any questions, you may feel free to enter that in the chat box over to the right side of the screen. If you would like to, you can also email support at support@theanalyst.com, or you can also email me directly, and that is rena@theanalystpro.com. Both of those email addresses are available to you in the chat box if you'd like to use those. We do have a 7-day trial that you can have access to. You can go to our homepage at theanalystpro.com and sign up for the 7-day trial, at which point you will receive your welcome email that'll have my contact information, and we can set up a demo and go over any questions that you may have at that time. So don't be afraid to ask any questions or email. Once we become in contact, you'll also have my contact number for phone support for quick questions as well. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and put them in that chat box or email us as soon as you can.
Perfect. Raina, thank you so much. Well, everybody, thanks again for being here today. That wraps up our session. I am recording this session, so we'll get this uploaded to YouTube and get the YouTube link out to anybody that requests it. But thanks for being here. If you're a subscriber of the Analyst Pro, thank you so much for supporting us. If you're considering it, we value your business. We hope to have you on board. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.